Hello, this is from Caracas. I'm Ray Gomez. On the second edition of the artistic project Bienal del Sur, Peoples in Resistance, I will talk with Oscar Sotillo, Vice Minister of Culture in Venezuela. Hello, Mr. Sotillo. How are you?
How are you?
Fine, thank you. Well, what is the Bienal del Sur? How did this project of contemporary arts emerge in Venezuela?
Well, the original idea of this Bienal is to bring together artists from around the world here in Caracas, and artists that who are talking about different things and who are working in different issues in the art world.
So you mean different issues because there are many techniques that are exposed in this Bienal?
Yeah, talking about techniques, but also talking about the issues, the ideas behind the artwork.
And what are those ideas?
Well, most of these artists, they work on social issues, social ideas. They don't only paint or make sculptures or engraving or video arts, but they also participate in their societies, in their groups. And they are also militants, activists of the art and inside their societies.
How many countries participate in this Bienal del Sur?
Yeah, in this second issue, we have 32 countries from 4 continents. 30 Venezuelan artists, and the rest is artists from other countries, Africa, Europe also, South America, North America, and very important, Africa.
So you mentioned North America. This means that the concept of South is not a geographical concept.
No, it's not. We are talking about a political South. It's not a geographical point, but it's a political concept of resistance and a very special brotherhood of people.
Only North America from the Northern Hemisphere?
No, Russia. We have Russia here. And then it's not in the South, but it's in the South, politically speaking.
What about China?
Yeah, we also have China and Russia here in this. They are not countries from the South, but they are the political South.
You're right.
Yeah, it's very important for us, China.
But speaking of Africa, you said there are countries from Africa that are exposed in this Bienal del Sur.
Yes, in this second edition, we have 5 countries from Africa. And this is a very important point because otherwise we will never see African art in Venezuela. It's very hard. Africa, as you know, is not an important place for contemporary art in the market, in the art market meanings sense. And then in this opportunity, we can see artworks from 5 different countries in Africa: Namibia, Sudan, South Africa, Ghana. It's very important. These are countries that are working very hard. They have big problems, but they are a very beautiful art world, and they are living their cultures every day. And then it's very hard to find the artists, and it needs a very important research to get the artists. But now here in Caracas, we have 5 artists that otherwise they will never be here, but through the Bienal del Sur.
What do those African artists say on the opportunity that Venezuela gave them to participate in this Bienal?
Well, they are very pleased to be here. This is an important window for them because they don't see to Europe only, but they see also to Caracas, to South America, and they know that they have brothers here in Caracas.
Now, this is the second edition of this Bienal del Sur. How different is this from the first one? What are its main characteristics?
Well, now in the second one, we have a little bit more experience. It's very important to organize how to bring artworks from around the world, how to set up the museum, how to deal with artists, how to deal with different institutions to bring all this together. And then this second one is a little bit better for us because we have a little bit more experience to organize.
Okay, and in concept, I mean, are the same techniques of arts the ones that are exposed at this time if we compare that to the first occasion?
Well, in the first one and then in the second one, we have been working in what we call dialogues. It's a different dialogues inside the Bienal. It's the way to read, you know, the whole exhibition. Then we have the territory, the body, the identity. It's a different, like roads you can take around the exhibition. And this is the way to learn and to understand what we have together here. And then we are still working in the same aim as in the first one, you know, to try to bring these artworks that we need to show together. For example, in some way, we have an artist from Russia and then one from Peru in South America, and we noticed that they both are talking about the same in different points of the world, and then we put them together, and then we are aiming to that objective in this second edition of the Bienal.
It's very interesting. What cultural institutions in Venezuela provide their facilities for the Bienal del Sur?
Well, this is a Bienal organized by the government, by the state, and then we have different supporting institutions as PDVSA and the Foreign Office of Venezuela, and then the Minister of Culture, of course, is the main organizer, and then, of course, the very beautiful building of the Museum of Contemporary Art.
It's only the Museum of Contemporary Art, because I've heard there are many museums here in Venezuela, many national museums here in Venezuela, well, but not all of them participate in the Bienal del Sur?
Well, now it's set up in the Museum of Contemporary Art, but the Ministry of Culture have 14 different museums around Venezuela. Yes, and after we close the exhibition here in Caracas, it will travel to 3 different cities inside the country.
Cities,
yes,
different states in Venezuela.
Yes, yes. It will be traveling to Zulia State, and then to Monaga State, and then to Lara State.
Interesting.
During the year.
And how does the Venezuelan people, how do Venezuelan people participate in this Bienal? By seeing the exposition, by visiting these facilities? Yes,
our policy is to bring as much people as we can to the museums in this new era of cultural Venezuela. Look, beyond the exhibition, we have a visiting guide, visiting guides every day from schools, from different places.
Guided visits.
Guided visits, yes. And then the last 4 days of the exhibition, we will set up 4 days of discussion about contemporary art. This is the last 4 days before closing. We will be here with the artists and with theoretical writers and artists. They will come to the museum to talk about what is going on in art today in the world.
You say schools participate, people from school, I mean children participate in these exhibitions, so no matter the age of the visitors, the Bienal is open for everybody?
Oh yes, this is a free entrance museum, as all the museums in Venezuela. And then there's a lot of people coming in, students, third age people, senior citizens, and people from the military also are coming to see the Bienal, because it's a very open place. It's a place for everyone, and that we're working hard every day to transform museums in places for people, places for the community, places for the students, places for people that are, for the people from Caracas. Anyone can come inside the museums, beautiful places, and we invite them to come.
Thank you. And how has been their reception? What do they say after visiting these expositions?
Well, as I said before, it's interesting to see artists, otherwise you will never see. That's very important for the people that used to come to the museums. It's beautiful because this is not artworks aiming to get money, to sell the pieces. It's not that way. It's the most of them are artworks aiming to make people think and make reflections about life, about politics, about society, about the environment, about the militancies, about the activism on feminism, ecology, energies, territories, and many kind of things. And when you come to the museum and you go out, you will be different because all these pieces make you think in different things.
So you mean the art changes the people's mind?
Yes, I believe so. Minds and soul.
And soul. Well, why is this project entitled Peoples in Resistance? In resistance to what or to whom?
Well, first of all, in resistance to capitalism, in resistance to imperialism of any kind.
And why do people must resist capitalism and imperialism?
Well, we need to resist because we need to keep our identity. We need to keep alive. We need to keep living in this war, and we have the right to live in this war, and we will resist to be living here.
How does the Bienal del Sur provide people that kind of resistance?
Well, because it's a space, it's a place for a different kind of art. Here is not the money that is handling the interest behind the artworks. This is not the transnational brands are behind this. It's not the dark interest of money or banks or that kind of things as in other biennales. But in Bienal del Sur, it's a biennale for people, for reflection, for poetry, to get together, to know each other. And when you know the other one, you love him and you respect him.
You're right.
I'm talking about different peoples around the world.
Can we say then there's a culture of neoliberalism? And what kind of culture does the capitalism system believe?
They believe in the culture of death. They believe in the culture of destruction. They believe in the culture of ugliness. Because if you see when the capitalism arrived, everything started to die. It's not a culture for life. It's a culture for death. I believe so.
Although many people say that the culture that has been linked to revolutionary ideas, to Chavistas ideas, for instance here in Venezuela, that is not real culture. Is that right?
Well, I invite people to come and see the exhibition. The culture is what people do every day. And this is a very beautiful example of what people and artists do all around the world. 80 different artists, 32 countries. They trust us and send us the art. And this is a very beautiful example of what is the culture in Venezuela now.
In order to face the culture of neoliberalism, what should the southern peoples do? I guess the Bienal del Sur isn't but an example of the many actions we can perform.
Yes. It's very important, this Bienal, because it's a place to get together, to know each other. And this is the only way to front the imperialism, to get together and fight in one way. And this is it's a place for that, because when you come here and you participate in Bienal del Sur, you know other artists that are doing the same as you in other place, in other point of the planet. And then you say, well, they have the same problem as me. And why we don't get together? Because we have the common enemy. And this is very important.
What's the common enemy?
The common enemy for me is imperialism and neoliberalism.
Why? Because it colonizes also not only peoples, but also minds and souls?
Yeah, minds, souls, and the environment, and the economy, and the culture. This is a common enemy for all the people, on all the cultures that want to have a stronger identity. It's a common enemy for people that need to blossom, you know, in a cultural way. And then you know that in the present of neoliberalism, you can't do that. And then you need to free from the neoliberalism to achieve the more beautiful things and ways of life.
Is the Bienal del Sur another way of liberation?
I hope so. I hope so, yeah.
Why?
Well, because we bring beauty, we bring social responsibility, we bring places and space for freedom and from reflection. That's part of the liberation of the soul and the mind.
How were fine arts and artistic culture managed here in Venezuela before 1999? I mean before Hugo Chavez took over.
Well, this museum that we are talking is an example. This always was
The Museum of Contemporary Arts.
The museum, yes, of contemporary art. This is an example. It was founded in 1973, 74.
Okay.
And it was always a public museum, but it was managed as a private one.
How so?
Well, it has an owner. This museum has a kind of owner.
At that time, had an owner.
Yes, and they decided what was good, what was bad, what was inside, what was outside. And then they used money from the oil. They used public money, but they managed the space as a private thing with a very precise interest, their interest, not the people's interest.
What about the other museums here in Venezuela?
Well, almost the same. Very old collections and very small groups handling everything. But now well, in 1999 to this time, they start to open for different experiences inside the museums. Now they are more open.
Well, the theaters, for instance, Teresa Carreño, the same way?
I put the example about the visual arts, but if you see the theater, if you see the dance, if you see the music, if you see other arts, it was the same example. You can follow the same example. You see the Teresa Carreño Theater. It's the biggest theater in Caracas. It was almost the same. It was almost privatized.
Yeah, because I've heard not everyone could enter the Teresa Carreño Theater at that time.
Yes,
Is that true?
Yes, it was like that. And now, in the last years, it's easier to go. There are a lot of public policies for opera, for ballet, for orchestras, and then people that never went inside these beautiful halls, now they are coming because they have this public policy to bring people to see those beautiful expression of human culture.
And the artistic teaching, how was that?
Well, you see, in 1999, we have only one high-level university in arts. It was called Armando Reverón Institute. Now, this institute became UNEARTES, the University for the Arts.
Next to the Teresa Carreño Theater.
This is one of the venues, one of the places.
Because there are others.
Yes, there's about 10 different states. We have this university spread all over the country. Before that, it was only one place in Caracas. If you want to study painting, you have to come to Caracas in that time. But now...
Was that free?
Yes, it is. Yes, public school.
I mean now, but at that time?
It was, but it was only in Caracas. And now we have in more than 10 states, we have places to go to study in the high level.
So, speaking of the current times, can we say there has been a revolution in arts, taking part of the Bolivarian revolution? I mean, a revolution within the revolution? Based upon what you have said?
Definitely yes. If you compare, you can compare Venezuela before 1999 to now. It's definitely different. I'm talking about the cultural environment.
Yeah.
It's very different. It's very different. It's more open. There's a lot of people participating.
How do Venezuelan artists participate in that cultural revolution? in this cultural revolution?
Well, you see, the educational revolution is now we became the 5th country in the world with more high-level students.
Very interesting. What challenges had to face this cultural revolution in Venezuela for the last 2 decades?
Well, to make people participate more and more every day. It's hard to do. It's not.
Why was it hard to do?
Well, because there's a long tradition of elitism, a long tradition of.
So you mean people, the common people, were afraid of coming to these?
Yes, because these places belong.
Institutions.
They think, and still, that idea is still on the street, that these places are closed. These places are for a small bunch of people. These places are for rich people. These places are. These are like a secret places, and to transform these museums and these beautiful spaces in open spaces for everyone, it takes time. You need to bring important exhibitions, very good ones, a very good variety of exhibitions, well set up, well illuminated, beautiful setting, and it takes time and cost money to do that. And the public policy is aiming to still have these beautiful places now for more people. Now, before the revolution, maybe were coming 100 people, and then now it's maybe 500, 600. We need to increase the number of visiting also. And it takes time. It's not easy to keep going.
In order to break the ice, what about the media? What do media contribute to let people know that these institutions exist in Venezuela?
Well, they know that it exists, but now with these new public policies, sometimes they don't make justice what is going on here. You see these big and traditional newspapers, they have their cultural pages, but when you see that they don't understand, and they don't have a good idea of our public policies, and you can see that in the newspapers. But well, we are trying to work with other media. We don't count on them to show what is really going on here in Caracas.
So I mean that has been another of the challenges.
Oh yes, of course, to deal with this.
Philosophy.
Yeah, to deal with this kind of media is very hard.
So, what could be the new challenges from now on?
Well, the new challenges from now on to keep working, keep going. It's not. We know we are going to in a good sense. We need to keep going, little by little. It's not easy. It's against us, the big media, the big money, the international, transnational brands. All of them are against the Venezuelan revolution. But we are going ahead. We keep going ahead.
Mr. Sotillo, thank you very much for this interview.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Oscar Sotillo, Vice Minister of Culture in Venezuela. We have been speaking on the 2nd edition of the artistic project Bienal del Sur, Peoples in Resistance. This is from Caracas. I'm Ray Gomez. Thank you very much.